What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Ben Wright Reactions. Today we're doing a video entitled Historic Duels That Put the Wild West to Shame. This video was put together and produced by the channel Bluejay. I highly advise everybody to go check it out. It's a fun history channel. The guy's got an amazing sense of humor, and it's just all around fun, and this is one I haven't seen yet. So with that, we're just going to jump right on into it. Here we go.
They hit you when you least expect it and usually lead to some sort of criminal threat. Unlike today, where death threats can be made from the safety of your couch, the people of the past didn't have the luxury of the internet to keep their murderous desires at bay. Instead, they resorted to a good old-fashioned duel to settle their differences. This glorious practice sent a strong message that no matter how big or small, any problem can be solved honorably with a little elbow grease and murder. But while dueling is no longer available today, don't you worry, champ, we have our alternatives. Hey, so actually, I said I didn't want any pickles. Ratio. What's that gonna do? L. But for some, a traditional duel can only bring so much excitement. You know how getting stabbed and shot at gets dull after a while. So today, we're gonna explore the stories of those who participated in some of the wackier duels in history.
Crazy duels. This could get wild.
It's well known that the French's two greatest contributions to the world are drinking wine with your pinky out and cartoony murder stories, such as the hot-headed man who headed the headhunt after beheading the head of state while heedlessly spearheading his headless demise. But reigns of terror aside, the French are legendary for their use of duels to settle their disagreements. Everything from political differences to whose mustache best represents a kick-ass roller coaster. So when Monsieur de Grandpré and Monsieur de Pique found out they had both been seeing the same woman, a duel was short to follow. The year is 1808, and the renowned dancer at the Paris Opera, Mademoiselle Tervite, was dating Grandpré, but began to see Le Pique on the side for a little extra baguette. Both men laid claim to the woman, because it's the 1800s and before Beyonce, you could still do that kind of thing, agreeing to a duel to win her heart. But given the grand nature of the prize, so too must the duel itself be elevated. Literally. Oh, if it is the woman you want, Monsieur de Pique, a duel you must have. May the 3rd, the crack of dawn, we duel. You're on, Monsieur. Oh putain, I have a balloon race that day. We will make it work! It was decided that the only way to settle the dispute was with a duel in gas balloons. Why must the men fight to the death thousands of feet above Paris? No clue. Maybe they thought the Fire Nation had the right idea. But if anything, we can thank the French for pioneering the steampunk genre. The idea was to take a month to build identical gas balloons, ascend into the air, and take turns firing at each other's balloons with a blunderbuss, a predecessor to the modern shotgun. On May the 3rd, 1808, as crowds gathered for what they thought was a balloon race, both men ascended in their balloons with their seconds who were to act as co-pilots. Traditionally, the role of a second is to mediate the duel, as well as attempt to defuse the situation entirely to avoid bloodshed. In this case, on top of their usual duties, the seconds were literally prepared to die if their guy lost. That or maybe they misinterpreted the term wingman. Say what you will about the French, but they always got their homies' backs. Grandpré, look around. It's so peaceful up here. Kinda makes your whole love triangle problem seem kinda small, huh? Yeah. You know what? You're right. Hey! I think I want to go down!
You dare call me a clown?
No, I said I want to go down!
No, you're going down!
Fuck!
There they go.
My home! Marie! Marie, are you okay?
Well, at least my honor is restored.
Dear God, there are body parts everywhere!
At about half a mile up, a signal was given and the duel commenced. Le Pique fired first and miraculously missed the giant balloon. Grandpré followed with his shot, which hit its mark, sending Le Pique and the second plummeting to the ground, who were then, quote, dashed to pieces on a housetop. That's the quote. A fitting end, because anyone with aim that bad is bound to be a nuisance at urinals and thus deserves to die. It should be noted that the authenticity of this story is a little questionable. The earliest record of the story that I could find was in a British newspaper a few months after the fact. It's also mentioned in a book by a proclaimed authority on duels. I even went as far as to ask a duelist historian about it, who said while he doesn't necessarily doubt it to be true, he has no reason to be certain it isn't apocryphal. So this story gets filed under, it may not have happened, but the world's more fun believing it did. So anyway, whether or not Grandpré actually ended up with Tervite is unknown.
Pretty crazy.
But I like to imagine he realized that if he should love anyone, is the one willing to put his life on the line so that his bro can get laid. So what could possibly follow up Balloon Tower
second
Defense
step.
France Edition? That's right, the French again. Back during the French Restoration, there existed a lot of tension between the former soldiers of Napoleon's army and the bright and shiny Royal Guard. And considering the French tend to be quite honest and direct with their thoughts, quarrels are rather expected. Which shouldn't be too surprising. It's such a problem that they literally developed a career dedicated to silence. One such quarrel occurred when Colonel Babier Dufay trod on the toes of the young Captain Raoul de Vere of the Royal Guard and insulted his cockade. Get your mind out of the gutter, it's a hat ribbon. But apparently in 19th century France, mocking a glorified knot was akin to spitting on an orphan, because Raoul was so insulted that only blood could remedy such a dishonor. He challenged Dufay to a duel, offering up the rapier, sword, or pistol as the weapon of choice, whichever Dufay preferred. This surprised the colonel, who was all like, "Oh shit, so you've mastered all these?" To which Raoul responded, no, I'm 18. Seeing as how Dufay wasn't a fan of Fortnite, he wasn't all that interested in murdering children that day. But as he began to walk away, Raoul placed his hand on the colonel's cheek, which sounds really touching at first, until you realize that's just fancy olden talk for giving him the old airplane treatment.
Smack.
And thus, a duel with rapiers commenced. They faced off in the street, where the more experienced Dufay proceeded to easily disarm Raoul 4 times. Okay, stop. No, down. Put it down, boy. This is pathetic. I'm not an assassin. You have not bested me yet, good sir. Okay, fine. You hell-bent on a fight to the death? You insulted my cockade! Jesus Christ. Okay,
Okay.
let's make things interesting. Apparently, 4 consecutive disarms wasn't enough to solidify a victor, so Dufay proposed that they
You get
should,
disarmed
and I'm not making this
4
up,
times,
tie their
you-
left arms
you lost.
together, enter the back of a coach, and stab each other to death with daggers. Because you know what they say, if you can't win with a sword 4 times, try Fast and Furious with knives. This was thought to be the perfect solution, as it would ensure no one could escape. So the seconds took over for the carriage driver and began driving their pre-routed 2 laps around the Place de Carousel. And if there's anyone I feel most sorry for, it's them.
Wait till you see my spin move.
This is nuts.
I made this move myself. Not the cocaine.
I mean, why would either one of them agree to
Rest now.
So did Raoul finally catch his break, redeeming his honor solely by the insult to his cockade
not.
and numerous disarmaments? No.
this? Good.
No, the lad was very dead. Dufay also appeared to be dead at first, having been stabbed 4 times in the chest, but he ultimately recovered from his wounds. Some accounts claim that he later died from his injuries, but the majority of the sources I consulted state otherwise. Plus, as we all know, it takes 37 stabs in the chest to kill a man. So if we learned any valuable lessons from this encounter,
It's a messed up fight.
Moving on from France, we have a story
Yeah,
that takes
nothing
place on the
learned.
other side of the English Channel. On a cold winter's evening in 1765, the 2 cousins, neighbors, and friends, Lord William Byron and William Shaworth, were enjoying their weekly dinner at the Star and Garter Tavern in London. It started off pleasant enough, just 2 blokes enjoying a chinwag, having a laugh, you know, British things. But as the wine continued to run, so too did their mouths. A conversation began on the proper way to hang birds after they were shot, which soon transitioned into whose estate held the most game birds. But little did they know, they were both Redditors at heart, and what began as some harmless boasting rapidly escalated as neither side would back down. You see, Byron, at my estate, we roll the wings up like crescent rolls and hang the bird from the claws. Well, it only makes sense coming from an estate like yours. What do you mean by that? Oh, only just that you obviously lack proper experience with an estate so devoid of game birds. This coming from the bloke with only 20 pheasants on his estate. 29? And please, you don't have more than a handful of quail in your brush. Good sir,
Interesting what the
my
ritual
estate is brimming
argue
with
about.
quail, along with dozens upon dozens of red-legged partridges. You have as many partridges as you have admirers, you wazzock. Meanwhile, I've got 18 capercaillie roaming my backyard. I've got 17 ostriches. Yes, 17 ostriches that run circles around your pathetic capercaillie.
Awesome.
14 pterodactyls! My estate has 14 pterodactyls flying leagues above your glorified giraffe chickens! Alright, how did everything turn out tonight? Oh, wonderful. Say, could you show us to a room? The argument escalated to the point where they drew their swords and asked the waiter to show them to an empty room. The waiter returned after hearing a lot of commotion to find Shaworth gravely injured, with Byron's sword driven firmly through his gut, proving once and for all that Lord William Byron had the most birds. Or something like that. Shaworth lived for a full day before he died, during which he claimed that he only regretted that the room that they dueled in was so dimly lit, and thus caused his defeat. Basically the equivalent of saying, I lost because he had a good gaming chair. After his cousin's death, William Byron was put on trial for murder before the House of Lords, during which they asked him, are you guilty of the felony of murder? To which he responded, nah fam, and so they found him guilty of manslaughter instead. While normally you expect people to regret their stupid decisions, Byron proudly mounted the sword that slew his friend in his bedchamber chamber, and later would earn the nickname the Wicked Lord. He ultimately got off with just a small fine, showing that as long as the honor of bird lovers is at stake, and you happen to be a lord, you absolutely can put a price on human life.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Life Lesson Leopard. What wisdom do you have for us today?
And all your
Dwell
buddies are
not
the
on the
judges
grievances
that-
past,
Yeah,
for that which
you can do
festers
that.
blooms with thorns, and those whose minds dwell to the last shall find their doom, this leopard warns. Okay. What, you want money? You want to keep those wings? Jesus, okay, here. I could have taken them. What was that? 10 out of 10 stars.
Alrighty then. Well, that's going to do it for historic duels that put the Wild West to shame. Once again, that video was put together and produced by the channel Bluebird. Everybody should definitely go over there and check them out. I love his sense of humor, and he's just firing off one-liners, rapid fire style. It's always entertaining, these videos. Those were 3 crazy duels. I still think the hot air balloon one was the craziest. And it kind of sucks that those 2 guys had to bring 2 other dudes with them and get them involved, shooting at each other in hot air balloon. I mean, you're going to crash. You're taking out 2 people, not just 1 person. That didn't seem right. The other one in the horse carriage, I mean, he had already beaten him 4 times, and then he gets in a horse carriage with him. I would have been like, nah, dude, it's over. You already lost 4 times. I'm not getting there with you with a dagger. And who came up with those rules? Yeah, we're going to do 2 laps. After the 2 laps, whatever happens, happens. Win, lose, draw. Insanity. Well, that's going to just about do it for that. If you guys out there have any suggestions or anything you want me to check out, please feel free to put it down in the comments. And like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. Once again, until next time, thanks for tuning in.